And back to our update on Liberia's runoff election. We told you that the polls opened today for the country's fourth post-war presidential election, the first one without the presence of the United Nations mission, which previously provided support to the country's electoral commission. I have joining me now live to discuss more on this the professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, David Awurawu. Glad to have you join us on The World Now.
Thank you for having me.
Let's begin with questions that have been raised about the evenness of the playing field. And we've noticed that both the ruling party and the main opposition in Liberia have had a few violations of campaign financing law, along with other serious violations of the new electoral legislation. What does this spell for the integrity of the polls?
Yeah, it's not good because it reveals that both sides haven't played according to the rules. And when you have this kind of exercise, and the two prominent political parties have gone contrary to provisions of the law, it calls the entire process into question. And, in addition to that, we have also had, information regarding violence, attempts to, inflate figures for one person, against the other and all that. And we even heard that some members of the Electoral Commission have been arrested in attempts to, stop ballots in some polling units. So all of these things do not bode well for the election, and we hope that we won't hear more of this as the runoff is holding today.
Well, let's also talk about some of the issues that may have reinforced the long-standing concerns about the transparency and credibility of polls in West Africa, and specifically how Liberia is related to Nigeria. You are aware that Nigeria just rounded off its off-cycle elections in some states, and some of the issues still lingering are a lack of trust in the Electoral Commission and by extension the outcome of the polls. In Liberia, we also hear some opposition figures also threaten to cause unrest depending on the outcome. Let's talk about how well the Electoral Commission in Liberia is prepared for, averting a repeat of these issues.
The Electoral Commission in Liberia seemed fairly well organized, despite the infractions by the political parties. It also seems to be, reasonably fair in the way it has, carried out its have been arrested and, are being prosecuted, which is good for the electoral process. We hope that the Electoral Commission will carry on along that line. When the elections were held the other time, the gap was so close, 43.8 for the incumbent, 43.4 for Joseph Boakai, the opposition. So the Electoral Commission has done fairly well. We just hope that it will improve on what it has done, such that the results will be credible at the end of the day. And of course, that will help to reduce to the barest minimum post-election violence in the country.
Yes, still on election violence, these were some of the issues that we experienced in the first round of voting. And how exactly do you think the Electoral Commission in that country has tried to, avert what is going to happen at the end of this election? There was also a relatively high proportion of invalid votes, about 5.8%. Let's hear your thoughts.
Yes. The commission has had these challenges, just as we also have had in Nigeria here, all of those logistical issues and all of those issues that revolve around not getting materials, well sketched out and well arranged. such that, all of these things. But the good side to it is that the voter turnout in Liberia has been very, very high, one of the highest in a long, long time. And so hopefully the invalid votes arising from, errors from the Electoral Commission will not likely have an impact on the outcome, who won the election. Of course, the thing is very close, only 7,000 votes between the two front liners, which is why invalid votes that we have seen is also concerning. But hopefully it won't have an impact at the end of the day when the results are eventually announced after the runoff today.
All right. David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, thank you for speaking with us on The World Now.
Thank you for having me on the program.